Yesterday, we learned that the Catholic voting bloc was critical, but it was also going to be a tough nut to crack for the Obama administration. Now, today, the White House has signaled that it's looking for compromise to resolve an uproar over the rules requiring Catholic and other church-affiliated groups to include birth control in health plans. Jerry Seib joins us now from Washington, D.C. Jerry, you wrote your fabulous column yesterday, and merely a day later, probably not even a day later, they've obviously read it and they come into a compromise, or they want to come through a compromise. I can only think it's your magical words. Tell us how they're going to achieve this.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure I can establish cause and effect, but and it's not also clear what the Obama administration is actually going to do. What's happened is they're starting to send some signals today. David Axelrod was on a TV interview show this morning saying, look, we'd like to find a way to stick with the core of our policy, but also to do it in a way that people don't think intrudes on religious liberties. Meantime, though, they've had women's groups into the White House today, and appear to have told them, well, we're going to hold the line on the core of this policy. The core of the policy, obviously, is that employers have to provide contraception services, as in insurance policies they provide to their employees without co-pays required, and that applies to large religious institutions that serve a broader audience beyond their own denomination. So that's what's got the Catholic Church upset. That's what the administration is saying. It would like to find a way to get out of this box. But on the other hand, they have a long time to do it. You know, they've given themselves a year. They've given themselves and the religious organizations until August 2013 to comply. So what some people have said to me is, look, we've bought ourselves some time here. Maybe we can use that time, have conversations, and figure out a way in which we can make everybody happy here. That's pretty hard to do usually in Washington, though. The making everybody happy part doesn't often work out.
Well, and especially when you're talking about something where a religious group is talking about its own doctrine and their own set of beliefs and how they believe that those beliefs need to be followed as part of their religion. And it seems to me it's going to be very difficult to compromise when you're talking about contraception. Is there any sort of idea, a blueprint, anything on the table that seems workable at this stage? And let's not forget, Jerry, I mean, we're talking about a huge voting bloc. I mean, Catholics are very well organized, and if there is this lingering discontent with the Obama administration, a lot of people are going to follow their beliefs right into that voting box.
Well, that's true, although just a couple of notes on that. First, on the Catholic voting bloc, it's very big, it's very swing, but it's not very organized in the sense that it moves in a particular direction. It tends to splinter. What the White House is counting on, there's some evidence to think that this is right, is that a lot of Catholics think not only that they disagree with their bishops on contraception, that's pretty well established, but that they think these services ought to be provided. So that's going to sort of slow down the White House rush to compromise on their position, because it's not clear how many Catholics will vote with the church on this as opposed to with kind of their secular beliefs. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, though, if there is a desire to have a compromise, you can look out at some of the states that have adopted similar rules, and you see some examples of ways they've found to sort of shoot the gap here. You know, ways in which Catholic organizations don't have to provide the contraception services directly, but can direct employees to other places where they can get it, find methods by which the contraception services can be subsidized by someplace other than the Catholic employer, and find a way to try to do both things at the same time. What the church is really concerned about is what they see as a moral problem with providing out of their own coffers the money to provide insurance services for acts that they believe are immoral. If they're not providing the money and somebody chooses to go use contraceptives elsewhere, not very many church leaders are going to have a problem with that. So there are ways to do this, but I think it's going to require some creative thinking and probably a look around the states to see if there's a model that works out there.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be scrambling to do that now. But Jerry, let's cast our mind back. Is this something that could have been foreseen by the Obama administration, and really it's a failure of foresight to sort of not have seen it coming?
Well, I think they knew there was going to be a problem, and I think they should have probably seen that it would be this kind of problem, this magnitude of problem. I don't think they expected quite what's happened. I think they were somewhat taken aback by the depth and breadth of the opposition that they've encountered here. You know, it's not just the bishops. It is now Republicans on the campaign trail using this as an example to show what they think is the Obama administration's disregard for religious liberty much more broadly. That's a problem for the Obama administration. We've been talking about Catholics as swing voters. That's a problem for the administration. And just a lingering argument about a social issue is not not necessarily a good thing to do as you're trying to appeal to swing voters, many of whom moved away from the Democrats over the years precisely because of cultural and social issues. So I think the administration probably bit off a little more than it expected it would have to chew here, and we'll see if they can walk back a little bit, or in fact, if they really want to walk back a little bit.